Shalom everyone, it's Chanukah Tafshin Ein Hey, and I'd like to share with you a message about Chanukah which is relevant for every year, but I think it's especially pertinent to this year. We had the terrible massacre in Har Nof, which was on Chaf Hei Cheshvan. The Shloshim turned out exactly on Chanukah Chaf Hei Kislev, and four friends of mine were murdered. I was friendly with all four of them. They were Talmidei Chachamim, they were Tzaddikim, and they all were killed al Kiddush Hashem, Kedoshim. And I want to share the Chanukah message that applies to this event. The Vilna Gaon writes that in his Pirush on Shir HaShirim, that what bothers us the most about the Galus, even more than all the difficulty, all the suffering, is the feeling that we're not close to Hashem. We're in Galus, we're in exile, Hashem isn't with us. That's the feeling that weighs on us the heaviest. Also, the Ramban writes that Yaakov Avinu mourned for having lost Yosef. Of course, Yosef was his beloved, cherished son. But more than everything, says the Ramban, Vayimayin le'isnachem, he refused to be comforted. Why? Because he felt that this was a punishment. And even more than losing Yosef was the fact that he felt perhaps the punishment aspect of the fact that Yosef is gone. The Rambam writes that mitzvahs ner Chanukah, mitzvah chaviva hi ad ma'od. The mitzvah of lighting the Chanukah menorah is chaviva, is cherished, is beloved, is endeared. It's a special mitzvah. Now this is a surprising thing to write, because the Rambam wouldn't go around giving marks to the mitzvahs, and they're all chavivos and they're all cherished. What is it about the mitzvah of ner Chanukah that causes the Rambam to write that it's a mitzvah chaviva ad ma'od? So I offer the following. We light candles, we light a menorah on Chanukah. This is to commemorate the miracle that happened with the oil, right? That there was enough for one day and it went for 8 days. And thinking about it, there were really two miracles on Chanukah, because there was the miracle of Rabbim biyad ma'atim, of winning the war. And then there was a miracle of the oil going for 8 days. We certainly want to commemorate both miracles. What is the connection between the lighting the menorah and between winning the war? What do they have to do with each other? So the Maharal says in Ner Mitzvah that the real Chag of Chanukah, what Chazal enacted, was not remembering the fact that the oil burned for 8 days. That is not something we have a benefit from. All we had a benefit from was from winning the war, Rabbim biyad ma'atim. And in Al Nisim, all we talk about is the war. However, there was a very important function to the miracle of the oil burning for 8 days. Because if we win a battle, Rabbim biyad ma'atim, it's true that we were few and they were many, but sometimes it can happen even in natural course of events. Derech hateva, it's possible. It certainly wasn't the case here, but someone may come and say, you know what, maybe. So Hashem made that there was this miracle of the oil lasting for 8 days in order to show that everything here was actually a nes. The miracle of the oil going for 8 days reflects on the victory in battle, that this was also a miracle, this was also a nes. And that's the point of how these two nisim of Chanukah interact. If so now we have a fantastic insight into why mitzvahs ner Chanukah, mitzvah chaviva hi ad ma'od. Because just like what bothered Yaakov Avinu the most was the fact that he felt it was a punishment of Hashem, And just like the Vilna Gaon writes that what we bothers us in Golus the most is the fact that we feel it's not just suffering, but it's a suffering that contains within it a distancing from Hashem. So, on the other side of the coin, the fact that on Chanukah not only were we victorious, but we have a special indication from Hashem showing us that this is a divine miracle, this is a nes, and He is with us, that's what uplifts us the most. And that's why mitzvahs ner Chanukah, mitzvah chaviva hi ad ma'od. The chavivus, the special endearment, the cherishment, the love of this mitzvah is showing us that in the depth of this victory, this is because Hashem is with us, and that's why the oil went for 8 days. And this is in accordance with what the Rambam writes in Pirush HaMishnayos, the very last line of his Pirush on Maseches Brachos. He writes, it is more yakar be'enai, it is more valuable in my eyes to teach something that pertains to emuna more than anything else that I can teach you. Similarly here, it is more valuable for us to know that Hashem is with us more than anything else that there is in the world. And that's what the mitzvah of Ner Chanukah comes to show, and that's why that mitzvah has a special chavivus, a special cherishment, a special endearment to show Hashem is always with us. Maybe this be a ilui neshama for the Kedoshim, and maybe perhaps a reminder also that there are those who are still injured, and we need to daven on their behalf. May they all have a refuah shlema. May all of Am Yisrael have a proper nechama.